Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe here with another look at MechWarrior Online. But today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. This isn't really a gameplay or tactics video. This is more so my way of introducing the new MechWarrior to the trial mechs and talking a little bit about your first 25 matches and the Cadet bonus they provide. So when you first get into MechWarrior Online, you're presented with trial mechs, or in a way, rental mechs. These aren't mechs that you own. You cannot customize them, but you can play with them as much as you want. You can jump into a game right away, or you can go home and test them out in the testing grounds. Now, your first 25 matches, they give you what's called a Cadet bonus. That means you're going to be making a lot more C-bills early on, and C-bills is your grindable in-game currency, whereas MC is a currency that you have to pay real money for. So we're going to focus on C-bills and maximizing your earnings potential for those first 25 matches. After the 25th match, C-bill earning normalizes and you'll be grinding it out like everybody else. So you want to get into a mech that is going to suit your play style. So that's why when you choose your first trial mech, you don't really want to hit play now. You want to go home and enter the testing grounds, drive it around, shoot at some targets, and get a feel for it so that when you do get in game, you're comfortable and you're going to be playing to the best of your ability. So back to the mech lab, again, messing with this UI, going to trial, and taking a look at what we have available to us. So you can see you've got 3 light mechs, you've got 3 medium mechs, you have 3 heavy mechs, and then finally 3 assault mechs. So you're going to want to ask yourself a few questions. You know, what kind of player are you? Do you feel the need for speed? Are you a sniper? Are you a harasser? Do you want to capture points? This might be the reason you need to pilot a light mech. However, maybe you want a little bit more armor, a little bit more firepower. You want to skirmish mid to close range. Maybe a medium for you. Heavy, duke it out a bit more, brawl, fire support, long-range missile boat, perhaps heavy. And then assault. Maybe you want the most armor. You want to be the biggest, baddest mech on the planet. You know, you want to get in there with the most weapons, the most armor, but you're going to be a bit slow. Actually, really slow in most cases. Maybe an assault mech is for you. But in any case, you can test all of them out for free before getting in. And I think once you're done with your 25 matches and your Cadet bonus, you might have somewhere around 8 million C-bills. And as you can see, if you go and click on the filter and switch it to purchasable, you'll be able to take a look at all the mechs in the game that you can purchase. Now, this game doesn't work like World of Tanks or War Thunder or a variety of other free-to-plays. It's not based on a tier system. So you don't start out with a light or crappy tank or biplane and then have to grind your way into something better or more interesting. In this game, it just depends on how much you play, because as you can see, it's just all about the C-bills. You can purchase them for real money if you want, but you can also purchase them for in-game grindable currency, which means that you can buy pretty much anything. And well, if you do well with your Cadet bonus, your first 25 matches, you could, in theory, purchase up to an assault mech, really, if you want to. It's just that they're going to be a lot more expensive. You can see here nearly, you know, 7 or over 7 million C-bills. And from what I've been reading, most new players tend to make around 8 million or so C-bills after their first 25 matches. So with that said, if you have somewhere around 8 million, again, that's just a guesstimate. That's what I've read most people seem to end up with. That might not be the case in all situations, but if you look here, light mechs, they only run about 2 million or so C-bills, depending on what you get into. Locust, really small mech here, really quick, nimble, but you know, doesn't have a lot of armor. Million plus, so on and so forth. Raven, Raven 3L, one of the best light mechs you can get in the game, especially if you customize it. You can see that's going to go a lot more because it's priced higher because it has electronic countermeasures. We'll get into what that means at a later date, but you can see the price is going up here. Probably wondering why. You can also click on Mech Details to get a better understanding of why it costs so much, what it's equipped with there. So we'll go back that's the way to get an idea of what you can purchase. Again, go to the filter, instead of owned, click purchasable. That way you can scroll through and look at pretty much everything, including the make sure it's on all as well, by the way, including the hero mechs, which these will grant you a 30% bonus in C-bills. So there's that, but they are only purchasable with real currency. So anyways, this is about the trial mech. So we're going to go back home, Mech Lab actually, and we need to bring it back to owned, and then the trial tab is going to pop up. So here's what you have available to you. I highly recommend you get familiar with these in the testing grounds before hitting this play now button, because you don't want to get into a match and be confused about how to operate your mech and then completely fumble when it comes to that C-bill bonus. So let's say, okay, well, I think maybe I'm a light mech pilot. I want to snipe, I want to capture points quickly, I want to harass the enemy, I want to get in, get out. So let's say, oh, okay, maybe I'm interested in looking at the spider. What's it got? Well, we can click on Mech Details, and we can see that it has 2 machine guns on the right arm, 2 machine guns on the left arm. You can actually see them there on the model. You can see it's got some ammo in the head area, some more in the right leg, some jump jets, and it's got a ER large laser that's placed right there on the torso. You can see it on the model. Okay, XL engine 255. And we can go back, take a look at some of the other stats down below here. We can see that its maximum speed is 137.7 kilometers per hour. We can also bring the mouse cursor over the mech and see some more details. So, all right, so let's say you want to play around with that. We want to go home, testing grounds, pick a map, in this case Forest Colony, hit OK, launch in, and test drive the mech. Shoot the weapons, fire at some targets that aren't live and shooting back at you. Get a feel for the mech, and you want to do this for all of the trial mechs so that you can figure out what will suit your playstyle. So here you can see the spider mech, really fast, nimble, quick mech, but very light. Doesn't have as much armor. However, with its speed, you will find that as long as you keep moving, it's going to be hard for a lot of mechs to target you, especially big fat mechs that are too slow and have horrible torso twists. So another little tip for most of you, you'll probably start the game in third person by default. What you're going to want to do is go to settings and uncheck start in third person. Also probably uncheck arm lock. I talk about that in a different video though, because you don't want to play in third person. In this game, you'll actually see a physically modeled camera come out and give away your location. On top of that, you just don't want to play in this because it's going to put you at a severe disadvantage. You lose your mini-map as well. So you want to hit F4, get back into the cockpit, and always play this way. This is how every pro MechWarrior pilot operates, so keep that in mind. So you're going to have some targets around here that you can mess with, such as this catapult. Every weight class is on the map, so you've got lights, mediums, heavies, and assaults that you can shoot out. You can test out your weapon systems. In this case, we've got a bunch of machine guns and then an ER large laser. Now, keep in mind that weapons have different ranges and have different functions. For example, machine guns are really only designed to get at internal structures, so they're not going to be good at chipping away at external armor. So doing this, you're going to be wasting your time. On top of that, you want to pay attention to the ranges. Again, I talk about weapon ranges and grouping in another video. I'll have an annotation or a link in the description below. Please check that out, because weapon grouping can be very confusing. So on top of that, so I'm just going to group these real quick so that I have my ER large laser alt all by itself on the second mouse button. So here you can see me just shooting at this catapult. So again, we can just drive around here and use these for target practice. Get a feel for how these work. Get used to your torso twisting, your controls, zooming in, zooming out, even jump jets, your space bar. It's going to have your jump jets. Play around with that. 25%. So that's the spider mech, okay? So let's get out of here. Quit match, okay. We can do that with all of these mechs. There's no time limit. They will eventually switch out the trial mechs, but there will always be trial mechs available. In the beginning, PGI had only provided 4, but now there's several of each weight class. You know, maybe a month down the line, these might be different, but they should always be there for you to play with if you so choose. So there was a medium. Maybe you want to skirmish a bit more. Maybe you want a bit more survivability. You can look at some of these medium mechs here. The Centurion is known for its survival. They end up calling this the zombie mech because more often than not it'll lose its arms, but it'll still be going with the center torso and perhaps some medium lasers located there. So in this case, Mech Details, this one comes with 2 medium pulse lasers on the center torso. You can actually see their hard points there, and then some short-range missiles with Artemis on the left torso there. They probably come out of this little hatch on the mech. However, there are no weapons on the right or left arms here, and this does have a standard engine, which means you're going to be a lot more durable. There are 2 engine types in this game, Standard and XL. All you really need to know is that XL is lighter, but it takes up more space. I'll show you an example of that with the Trial Blackjack. You can click on Mech Details. So the XL engine is going to be lighter, which means you can carry perhaps more weaponry or ammunition. However, it does take up more space in the left and right torso. So you can see XL engine here, also taking up space here and here, which means if your left or right torso gets blown out, your mech will be destroyed. That's the big disadvantage to XL engines on inner sphere mechs. Clan mechs don't have that same problem. However, in this case, again, if you're wondering why you're dying because your left torso's gone, well, that's why, because it's an XL engine. Now, with a standard engine, if we go back to Trial, and we look at the Centurion, we go to Mech Details, the engine's only located in the center torso. So if you get your left or right torso blown out, you're not going to have that problem. You're going to be more durable. So think before you go into battle, how large is the torso location? How big of a target are you? Should you be equipping an XL engine on a mech that's going to be close quarter brawling? Probably not, because you're always going to be taking a lot of damage. So you want to think about that, especially on certain mechs, assault mechs that have huge torsos that are giant targets. You don't want something like that. You don't want to be an easy target, get your left torso or right torso blown out and be out of action really quick. So there's that little tip for you. Take a look at those engines. Now with clan mechs, it's a bit different how they operate. They've got more casing so that they're protected from that kind of destruction. However, I think that if your left and right is blown out on a clan, if both sides are blown out, I think you're still destroyed. I'm not 100% sure on that. However, if they lose one side, they're still okay. Again, don't quote me on that. I think that's the case. But anyway, Trial. Again, maybe you want to do medium. Here you have a Shadowhawk. You can check him out. Probably one of the best mediums in the game. One of, at least favored in tournament play, I think. Of course, with a different loadout. So here you got 2 autocannon 5s up at the top. This placement is good for hull down, as I like to call it, or torso down or leg down. Fighting, you can have building cover or hill cover here and just use this to shoot. But you also have a PPC energy weapon on the arm. Keep in mind that the PPC has a effective range where you can't shoot close quarters. You have to get outside of a certain range to actually use it. It's kind of weird. If you want to be able to shoot a PPC at any range, you have to get what's called an ER PPC, or extended range. Anyway, I don't really want to get into that too much right now. But so here you can see another XL engine, which means that if your left or right torso is blown out, you're finished. So be very careful with that. However, that probably does mean that this guy is able to carry some more weaponry, or at least a lot more autocannon 5 ammo. You can see its placement there. Also keep in mind that ammo can explode. So if you're shot in the left torso, or in this case actually more so the right torso, they blow that out, well, there might be a chance for your ammo to burst and blow up everything next to it. So even if you had a standard engine here, but your ammo stored in the torso, if your ammo blows up, then there's a chance that that can blow out something next to it or cause a lot more damage. So you got to be really careful about that. There is a piece of equipment called case, which is kind of like a casing that seals the ammunition, kind of like a reinforced ammo stowage, so that doesn't happen, or at least it minimizes it. That's something you can get if you were able to customize your mech. Something you might want to consider if you carry ballistic. Obviously, if you have energy weapons, you don't have to really worry about that too much. So, again, there's another mech you can try out. Again, please, I can't stress it enough. Don't just jump into a match. Get into the training grounds, the testing grounds, and play with these. So, you know, here's the Orion. Now we're getting into heavies with the Cataphract, Catapult, the Orion. Now the Catapult here is going to be quite a bit different. This is pretty much a missile boat. Long-range missiles are going to be in these pods here. And you only have some Streak SRMs. These are short-range missiles for close quarters engagements. So let's go back home here, testing grounds, and then you can load up a different map as well. So let's say you want to stress the heat, you know, generation of your mech. Go to a map like Terra Firma. Yes, this game does have planet temperatures, so each map you jump is going to have a different temperature. You can see here that we already start out pretty hot here, up to 20% or more. Whereas if you're in a snow map or in outer space, HPG manifold, it's going to be a lot colder. So anyway, here we are in a mech that's nothing but missiles. And you've got the long-range missiles bound to mouse 2, for me at least right now. And these are going to require that we have a weapons lock. So in Terra Firma, you actually have to walk a ways to find a mech target, which is why that if you want to shoot at mechs, you're going to want to jump into a smaller map. But I can just fire those off. They're just going to fly off into the distance because I don't have a target. Keep in mind that I cannot use these at close range. So if we put the cursor over this mountain range here, you can see how the numbers in the lower right hand corner turn black. That means even though I can fire them, 0 damage is happening there. Whereas with the Streak SRMs, you can see I can fire those. Well, I'm going to need a target for those actually, so I can't actually demonstrate that. But maybe we can find something up in the caldera. But with the LRMC, you'll notice here, if we aim, when those missiles go off, there's actually an explosion. They will do damage. So there's minimum and maximum ranges for a lot of the weapons. Again, I've created a video that discusses that in great detail. Link below. So again, you can use the different maps to test out how these work. Your Streak SRMs are going to be your only close quarter weapon with this mech. I don't recommend this as something to earn your cadet bonus. Trust me, this build is a bit more complex. It's not really newbie friendly. You want to probably get something that has a bit more direct fire potential, some lasers, autocannons, and stuff like that. So here's a target we found. It's an awesome. You can see here that we've got a target lock with the LRMs. We fire them, 15 per, and you can see it does damage to the target. Now we can get closer. Here's another mech on the right here. Again, fire off some LRMs. Does damage. But as you can see here, we're blacked out. So now if I fire, no damage. Now the clans are a bit different. Clan mechs can do damage at all ranges. It's just that it decreases the closer you are to it. So you want to use them at their maximum potential. Now we do have the Streak SRMs here. We have a target. We can fire those out. Those will do damage at close quarters. But that's really all you're going to have. If a light mech is around you harassing you, this is the only weapon system you're going to have to engage. Plus, I believe with the Streaks, you're still going to need a lock. So if somebody has some sort of electronic countermeasure where you can't lock on to them, you're not going to be firing these. As you can see here, I just can't direct fire the Streaks. Now, I think if you have regular SRMs, non-Streak, that means that you can just direct fire those like a gun. But here, with the Streaks, we're going to need to get some sort of target. At least that's pretty much how they seem to operate. Again, I don't use missiles a whole lot. I'm not the best guy to talk to when it comes to missile usage, but this is definitely not a mech that you want to try to earn your cadet bonus in, trust me. So you want to, again, just play around with these. Find a loadout that's going to do a lot of damage. I can tell you that this Blackjack isn't too bad. The only downside might be this XL engine. If you're taking damage at close range, you might be out early on. Make sure you're hanging around friends in this mech. This autocannon too is going to pack a lot of punch. That's 20 damage if you're using it within maximum range or maximum effective range. And then you've got medium lasers to back you up there. So you've got a ballistic. It's not going to be generating too much heat, and then mediums that will. So if you're out of ammo on this, you can switch over to mediums. Or if you're dealing with a fast-moving target that's hard to hit with this, you can switch over to these mediums. Pack a lot of punch here. That autocannon 20 is devastating if you can land the shot at close range. But again, you're a bit vulnerable because of this XL engine. You are a medium, so you've got some okay armor. However, Blackjet probably not known for its survivability. But it does have nice weapon placement. Pay attention to that. High-mounted weapons to keep most of your mech covered up. Whereas there are other mechs that are different. Whereas here, you've got arm weapons and torso. You can't really be torso down. You don't have anything mounted up high. Same thing here with the Cataphract. Nothing up high. Everything is midsection. So you want to think about those things. You know, do you want a mech where the weapons are mounted high or low? Are you a brawler? Are you a sniper? All these things to consider. And here you can see a little bit different trial mechs here with the assaults. They're going to be slower, heavy armor. Again, you can take them in to the battlefield. We can go home, testing grounds, and then choose something even different. A large map with snow, so it's going to be a better temperature here. You can alpha strike a lot more, which means just fire all your weapons at once and not have to worry about heat as much, even though you still want to be careful when alpha striking because it's going to generate a lot of heat there. So here you can see we've got 4 medium lasers. We've got a Gauss rifle that you need to charge up, and you've got some LRM-15s plus Artemis and an anti-missile system. But we are, of course, a lot slower because we're in an assault mech. So you can see we're not moving very fast at all. Now compare this to the Spider we piloted early on, and you can just see the difference here, how this thing moves. Now yes, later on when you own one of these, you can put different engines in them. You can try to speed these things up, and when you do get your skills leveled up, you can get something called Speed Tweak, which increases your speed, I think by 5 to 10%. I think it's 10%, but it helps a little bit. But again, these assault mechs are always going to be the slowest in the game because they do have the most armor and weapons. So keep that in mind when playing with assault mechs. You might decide that this is for you. You might decide you want survivability. You just want to be the biggest weapon of mass destruction on the battlefield, and this is your style. But please try them out in the testing grounds. Get a feel. See how they twist. You know, the torso twist is a lot slower. The movement, just turning around like this when you're dealing with light mechs that can circle you. If you're dealing with a fast-moving Spider or Locust, they're so fast they can spin around you before you can even fire a shot. You never know it. And then the worst case scenario, you get 2 or 3 lights harassing you, you're dead. So keep that in mind. Stick with the team. Make sure that you're supporting them, and hopefully they're supporting you. But ladies and gentlemen, I think that about covers everything I wanted to discuss. Again, that Cadet bonus is really crucial to purchasing your first mech or two. It's going to earn you a lot of C-bills. Because you want to get some mechs that you can actually customize. That's most of the fun within MechWarrior. Trust me, you'll learn to appreciate the customization within this game. Big selling point. But try them out. Try each of them out. Take them into the testing grounds. When you're comfortable with one, once you've got your key bindings set, your keyboard and your mouse working together perfectly, then go to play now. Then get into battle. And you probably just want to do solo drops, because if you queue up with a friend, you're going to get into the group queue, which right now isn't amazing. Depending on when you're watching this video, as of right now, we're in July 2014. The group queue is a bit rough. There are chances for you to see battles that include teams filled with like 12-man groups. People on voice comms. So I would suggest you do solo drops as of right now. Again, this might change in time. They are looking at potentially, lowering the group queuing process to maybe just fighting groups of 3 or 4. I don't know when that's going to change, or if it is, or how. But right now, I would suggest you solo drop. Do your first 25 matches right off the bat. Stay warmed up. And I think, I'm not sure about this, but I think if you have a new account, you get 1 day of premium time, 24 hours. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but if that's true, if you have 24 hours of premium time, then make sure you do your first 25 matches while your premium time is active so that you're earning even more credits. I think it's 50% more C-bills on top of that and everything else, plus the cadet bonus. You can really maximize that and I think get somewhere around 8 million or more C-bills. So you can go in and purchase your first mech or two. I really think that that's the way to go. So anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I really hope this has been helpful for all the new mech warriors out there. The game has a really steep learning curve. The UI is kind of clunky, needs a lot of work, and there's no new player experience that's worth anything. So I'm trying to help you out here. I can promise you that once you get past these hurdles, the game is a lot of fun at its core. I'm sure most of my live stream viewers can attest to that because I've just been playing this nonstop and just really enjoying it. It's also the kind of game where you got to find what mech suits your play style. It's the same in any game. You got to find the weapon that you're good with. You got to find the tank or the plane that you're good with. And once you figure that out, you'll get a lot better at the game and you'll start enjoying it a lot more. If you're playing around in an assault and you feel, man, I'm terrible with this mech, I don't know what's going on. You've been playing for a couple of days. Try a different mech. You might find out that you thought you liked assault or wanted to do that, but then you actually enjoy something else. I thought I would be a medium or heavy pilot primarily, but turns out I really love light mechs. I like sniping, I like harassing, I like being able to get in and out of a situation quickly. So it really just depends. Try everything out, testing grounds, then go into some solo drop matches, use up that cadet bonus and premium time if you have it, and you should be good to go. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining me. Really hope this has been helpful. Check out MWOmercs.com if you want to get into this game, if you're curious about it. So again, thank you so very much for joining me. I will definitely see you on the next one.